you participate with your trainees, or what do you call them? Like your affiliates?
We can
The people.
call them our members. Yeah, we spend like I said, we have a couple. We have a communication director. Her name is McKinley. We have a acquisition director. His name is Zane. We're with our members every single week if they want it, right? So when they join in, we offer them all the services, the pro formas, the weekly calls, the videos. Again, we do an in person every year.
Mhm.
So I want to believe we're about as transparent and upfront as we possibly can. I would say the biggest thing that I've discovered is unfortunately a lot of people, this isn't directed at everybody, but it's just reality. After about 4 weeks, some people are not trillionaires and then they kind of give up and they're like, well, how come I don't own like 25,000 square feet already of warehouse space? I mean, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't work. This is a lie. This is a ripoff. And that's just kind of maybe just the way that things are today, where people just kind of want the fast and quick and get rich quick kind of scheme.
Mhm.
And real estate is not that, as you know, Raja. It's not get rich fast. It's buy something very precise, understand what you're owning, discover the relationship you have with your tenant and the banker, and then service debt and create cash flow through finding creative ways to increase rent. That's really the goal with real estate. And that's kind of the goal of our group is buying something right with creative terms is cool, but finding a way to double the rent to double the value is really where you make your money, which is the game.
So that's what you buy, like properties with no tenants, and you bring tenants on the property, and then you increase price,
Yeah,
refinance the properties.
yeah, that's a great question. So there's a couple of ways that we do it. I personally love a vacant building, and because most of the time these sellers just don't know what they have in vacancies. I mean, it's remarkable. Like I've got a tenant right now that's looking for space, and I'm like, man, if I could just find 20,000 feet, I'd make an extra $1 million just by finding a new building. Um, but another way that I've discovered, and this is from one of my real estate mentors who has more money than God, and he gave me kind of a sobering statement because I asked him to invest in a project with me. This was probably 6 months ago, and he'd appreciate me saying this. I was like, man, I got a cool project. I'd love you to invest with me, and he's not interested in doing anything more unless it's like 8 figures, right? Well, what I said was, this is what I want to do. I want to, this is like a $2 million deal. You'll get your money back in 36 months. And this whole thing that I went through. And he's like, Nolan, I'm just not interested. He goes, I can do something. I don't care if it's $100 million or if it's $1 million deal. How do we double the value of the building in 1 year, 12 months? And I was like, well, this is the way. He's like, no, you're not thinking about it right, man. You're not thinking about it. He almost kind of got at me a little bit. And it was almost like a coach coming to one of his players. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he goes, you're only looking at the deal based upon the existing rent and the existing terms of the debt and the financing. You're not looking at what's going on around it in order to increase revenue. Meaning, if you're looking at a building that's like 20,000 square feet and it rents for $5 a foot, so you're bringing in $100,000 a year, and it's a 10 cap, that means the building's worth $1 million. So how, in Brett's eyes, how would I go and make that building worth $2 million, right? Well, I either need to double the size of the space and rent it for the same amount of money, or what if I was looking around it and I found maybe some adjacent parcels that were vacant, and I could go create a huge laydown yard where I could go and increase the rents by another 10,000 a month. And then I've got the same amount of space, but I've just turned the rental income from 10,000 a month or $100,000 a year to $200,000 a year. The same building, because I went and looked around the site versus just where it was existing. I'm now looking around it, trying to get creative. I'm negotiating with the adjacent parcel owners, see if I can negotiate a ground lease, or even have a tenant that wants to move in. He's got maybe some type of a bush hog or some type of anything like a that wants to just take some trees down, use a laydown yard. I mean, who knows what that could look like in the form of increasing rents, refinance, or sell to somebody else. So that's the way that I'm now looking at facilities, is not just how it existingly sits, but what happens if I did X, Y, and Z around it? Or if this tenant left, what could I actually release the space for? Or because the terms of the debt and the purchase price are only a couple of variables. The true way of increasing value is by increasing the income, because you can only decrease the expenses down to zero. Like they can't go any less than that. The only way to truly increase value is by increasing the rent, by, finding out what's around it, and finding a solution that way.
That's great. That's great.